Hi everyone, so today I have the new Spellbinders August 2025 club kits to share with you. I have what they call the Deluxe Caboodle, which is every kit and a little bonus item if you are a Deluxe Caboodle club member. But otherwise, all the different clubs, obviously that's what they look like, right? The individual clubs you might sign up for. So I will show those to you. So I will show those to you right now, but I will say that these items were sent free of charge for my review, and of course all opinions are my own, and the links I have in the description box will be affiliate links, which means I'll make a small commission if you purchase items through those links. So thank you for using them. I do have them for the US and the UK, and that's if you are a club member right now. You can start kind of making changes and things like that up until the 5th. If you want to sign up brand new, the sign up begins on the 6th until like a blackout period about the last week of the month. But I will say a lot of times they release that on the 5th. So the next video you'll see from me is, late on the 5th or whenever they actually release them for people to sign up if you're new, or if you canceled from before and you just, aren't a member at the current time. You can start picking those up then, and then as long as you're a current club member, you always get 10% off the site, and that's always great. So I will say today is August. So as you're watching this video, it is August 1st, and so here we go. And usually I start with the stencil of the month, so let's check this guy out. I have not looked at these items, but I will say, as you can see, it's very ocean themed. I will say that these things will coordinate with the June 2023 Whale in a Bottle. I think last time, a couple months ago, they had some other nautical themes that went into that also that could coordinate with it. And I think I said June of 2024, but that's not true. It was 2 years ago, the large die of the month. And at the time, it wasn't even available on the site. It had sold out, but they do have stock back in on the US site. The UK one looks like it's sold out currently, but maybe by the time you're watching this, it's back in stock. But either way, I'll link them on both sites for, under the affiliate links for both sites, the US and the UK. That way you can, say I would like to be notified when it comes in stock or however, right, for later. But, really, they both look so cute in that. So anyhow, I'm talking about the large die and the small die of the month. I suppose maybe you could even get this one in there, but I don't think so, the stitching die. But we'll talk about that in just a moment. So, stencil of the month, Underwater Bloom. I don't think. Well, let's just look at them. So these are stencils. Again, might be hard to see here, but you can start seeing it. Looks like it's building a little underwater kind of scene. Let me see, there are 4, 5. Yeah, they're all the same. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's that one with a little bit of like seaweed, little like starfish up in the air or up in the water. More starfish, more seaweed. These are geared towards like an A2 size, but of course you can move things along if you're making like a slim line or I don't know. Number 3 has taller seaweed and like bubbles. And then 4 has these little bits that look like some like seagrass or something different like that. I don't know. Maybe accents for the bubbles. And then 5, and the numbers are etched on there, has some more little accent bubbles. So I was trying to see if they're meant to go all together or if those last 2 are their own thing. But I think as I see through it, it's just a really full background that it creates. Okay. So that's the stencil of the month, which is always super, super cute. I will say I do not have the wax seal of the month with me here. A lot of times that arrives later just because of the way they get their stock in. So I'm sorry I don't have it to show right now, but I will share it later. Having said that, the July wax seal of the month I did receive, and I was not able to show it to you guys. So I'll follow up with something on that. But it's the Arctic Knit, and it came with this silver wax beads, this silver wax bead set, should I say. And yeah, I just got in kind of late for all the tutorials I did last month, so hopefully this one will, maybe it's in my mail already, but I doubt it because I already checked the mail and it wasn't there, but hopefully soon. By the time you're watching this, I'll probably have it. The embossing folder of the month is usually where I go next. So we have the embossing folder and your standard embossing folder. So this is the embossing folder of the month. Again, the plastic itself, the folder itself is 8 3/4 by 5 3/4. So you definitely want a machine that can accommodate that. And it can emboss an area that's 8 1/2 by 5 1/2. And this one is called Coral Impression. And that's very cute. I love all the little bits here and like these little circular things. Again, the difference between a standard embossing folder and a 3D embossing folder, generally 3D are thicker, and they are kind of carved into the plastic, where a standard embossing folder goes up, it goes across, and then goes back down, right? So up to make the image, across, whatever the image is, and back down. So it's definitely just drops off. So it's just a different kind of impression that they give. Really cute. Love that. And then we have the 3D embossing folder of the month called Underwater Waltz. So let's check this guy out. Aw, so cute. Look at the little fishies. I know somebody had asked if I can put something behind these guys so you can see. Generally, I use them, so I think you can see it better then, but let's get this here. There, maybe you can see that better. I don't know. To me, I feel like it's no different, but there you go. So there's that. And then the little fishies here. Super cute. So they have the little, I don't know, waves, but the water, the motion of the water there. And the little fish. And they are super adorable. Oh, and they are kind of different fish. Some have little scales, some don't. Super cute. So that's your 3D embossing folder of the month. And a lot of these things I will say coordinate with the items from, I believe it was a couple months ago, right? June? No, May, because let me see, July. Okay, so maybe June. It's the June nautical stuff because July was Christmas and July's type stuff, right? Okay. Clear stamp of the month. So generally I go to show you guys the clear stamp of the month. Sorry, I just hit something here. And it goes along with the clear dies. And I usually start with the dies over here, and I forgot, and I put all the small ones. And then since this has so much going on, I was like, I'm not going to move it now. So this is what goes with the clear stamp of the month. If you're familiar with my videos, I don't want to confuse you on that. Super sweet. It's called Paper Splash. And you have your little, oh my gosh, how cute is that? And again, that's why I was saying that maybe the message in a bottle or a whale in a bottle would go with this, because you can definitely put this little guy in there. The sizing of it is pretty nice and sizable. But anyway, so you have this. So you have your little ship in a bottle here. You have the little like origami kind of paper boat, which is so cute, and lots of sentiments on this one. So it's okay. It's okay to float a while. Made by hand, meant for you. May your day go swimmingly. Let your story unfold. I mean, there's just a lot of things on here. Sending joy on paper sails, and you know, things like that. Okay, I'll leave it there if you want to pause and read that. Very cute. And then the dies that go along with it are these guys. So you do have a couple for like to cut these sentiments that are like the thinner and longer ones like this, and then the other die to cut the ones that are more like the 2 lines like that. So that's great. And then to cut out the ship in a bottle if you want, and then also to cut out your little paper boat, which is super cute. Okay guys, the small die of the month. Oh my gosh. It's called the Deep Blue 2, and I'm telling you how my little titles here. My chicken scratch, I was like, what does that say? Okay, so it's these guys right here. I'll close up just a little bit. These are not like huge dies. I know a lot of times I give you guys measurements, and mostly it's because I want you to know that it'll fit in your machine, but like, you know, these things are going to fit in even the smallest machine. So like this guy is like 4 inches tall by about 2 inches wide. So these other guys, I mean, the biggest one is, you know, 1 inch and well, yeah, almost 2 inches, you know. You'll be fine. So what's up with this is that you can make this whole little scene with like your corals and your little fishies and all kinds of different fishies with accents, with everything to deck them out. Even the corals have background pieces. I want you to see that this one has this background piece, and then it has 2 layers, like this layers on top of that. So you're gonna have a lot of dimension. It's just so cute. All the little I was gonna say the little characters. I guess we'll talk about those guys next. It's little people in scuba. It's so cute because my husband and my son always insist on going scuba diving wherever, you know, whenever they went to Hawaii, and even when we went on a cruise, it's like, oh my gosh, it makes me feel sick. Like, honestly, I don't swim, and like that just gives me like the, I don't know, the creeps a little bit, right? So, and they love it. So this is so cute. So you have their little bodies, hope you can see that, and their little heads there, and then all the different things for their masks, for the background, like for their eyes, their skin tone, and all those things. So this all has to do with the little mask, the little snorkels, and then with accents for the snorkels, their little hair is even kind of like moving in the, you know, in the water there, in the waves, or yeah, water, I guess. The little bodies, the little bibs on this top portion, or at least like a harness, and then they have their little, like, I guess they're tanks. That's what goes behind them. And then this bib part goes up here. And then their little like flippers and hands, which is so cute. I just think that's adorable. So it's the Deep Blue 2. And then we have the large die of the month called Splash Tails. And this one, you know, it's over here. And as soon as I saw this, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's like a little fish in a bag, which is so cute. But this one has a few different purposes. So you have the fish in a bag, you know, if you would like. So you have this beautiful koi fish right here with all the different accents that go along with it. I'll give you a measurement just so you know about it's a nice size, right, for like the fishy. He is almost 2 inches there. The bag itself, metal to metal, is about 4 inches, maybe a little bit smaller. And at the widest point is about 3 inches. So I think you'd be able to get those from most small machines even. This is super cute, guys. I don't know if you can see the little mermaid down here. So it doesn't have to be in the bag. This has all kinds of cute things to just make like a little goldfish scene or like the little mermaid scene. So you have your like little castle in there and like all the cute things that you would have like in an aquarium, which is super adorable. So you have your little fishy and all the cute things that go along with it. I was just looking at this. I'm like, do I have him bobbing upside down like he's on his last breath there? I don't know if it's upside down. Sorry, guys. Yeah, maybe it goes this other way. I just put this in a funny way. So you have a mermaid and her little body's right here and her tail and then her little hair kind of flowing there in the water. And then when I brought it out, I was like, what is it? I'm like, oh my gosh, look at her little shells. And then like the accent for her little tail area or this bottom area. I think that is the cutest. And then just, you know, flowers and like seaweed and I mean this big shell with a little pearl even. It's just so cute. So that is your large die of the month. The stitching die, I was like, well, this is very different. It is called Handfolded Stitch. And it's this here. So I'll give you a measure. You're going to make basically a paper boat with this. And so it's really cute. This is the background piece for it when you go to assemble it. But let me see, it's about 4 inches tall and maybe a little over an inch deep. And then you have these pieces. So this piece is going to go in the center and hold these guys. It might go the other way. Sorry, guys. I think I have this in a funky way. But anyway, so it's going to look more, not 3D, but yeah, I mean, it's just going to have more detail and more definition to it, right? So it's going to look more paper folded. And again, I mean, you can do the stitching. You don't have to do the stitching, but you'll have these accent pieces that still help you build the boat there. And then it comes with little banners, like little bunting. So this, you can imagine, goes down here. And then the little bunting comes from there to the edge of the ship or your little boat, which is very cute. And then you have little hearts and stars and cute things like that. And then you have your water line, you know, if you want to do a couple of things like that to put your little boat on. So it's very, very adorable. It also comes with sentiments. So these are the kind that you just, you know, run through your machine. You have folded with love, and then you have the die for them. Hand folded hugs and drift and dream, which is very sweet. It'd be very cute for like a baby card, right? Your glimmer of the month, A2 size for sure. It might be a little oversized for A2 because that's what they generally do. So you have a nice background made. Yeah, so it's almost 4.5 pi by 5 3/4, but it's like an eighth bigger. So 5 5/8, you know, by 4 3/8, with the bubbles. Very, very cute on your glimmer plate there. And then you have 2 sentiments with that. Hope your day shimmers, and then you have the die to cut that out if you would like. And then you have popping by to say hi. So like with the bubbles and popping. So it's very punny. Super cute. I'll come back to talk about this little piece of die. This is not part of the large die, guys, so that's why I didn't address this right down here. This is your bonus if you are a Caboodle member. Oh, I will say the foil for August is intended to be speckled prism, but I will say it does say colors may vary. Same thing with the wax seal. Actually, the wax seal this month does not come with beads, and I'll talk about that in a moment. So you have your little cute little dots and just a really lovely prismatic effect. So you have that guy. And then the better press of the month, which is called Fish Parade. So let's check this out. It looks like it's a registration. Oh, that's why. I was gonna say it's a registration set, even though I don't see any other ones that do accents or anything, but it's to put the sentiment, I suppose. So you'll have it nice and lined up and you can do it all at once, I suppose. So there you go. So this one, again, Fish Parade, it has this piece that is about 4 inches. A little less than 4 inches in the other direction that has all these little fishies, which is super cute. Reminds me of Monterey when they have that. You kind of walk into this, the jellyfish area where they have the jellies. And there's this big kind of aquarium bowl like over your head, and it has are they sardines? Are they sardines? They must be in there. I was trying to think about the other little fish that people eat. But anyway, and they just kind of spin around there, and then all of a sudden they'll all start going the other direction. They all start going the other direction. It's pretty cool. But anyway, it would make sense because in Monterey they had a lot of sardine factories, and then they had to close up because they overfished, and that's it. Like, that's it, which is not great. But anyhow, so we have these little guys, and then we have these sentiments that go along with it. Even little fish make big waves. That is so cute. A little note from the whole group. Okay, sorry, I'm trying to read these. Together is a good place to be. That is so cute. So then you have your registration plate to help you do that if you want to, you know, stamp, or not stamp, but, well, I guess it is like a stamping, but if you want to put the sentiment along with the little school of fish there. And then you have dies to cut out the sentiments if you want to do that otherwise or a different way. Okay. Deluxe item here, or Deluxe Caboodle. Funny enough, I did not write down the name of this, but it's a couple little fish. So hopefully you can see you have a clownfish and then maybe an angelfish. Is that what these guys are called? So you have the background piece, a little topper bit for him, and then some accents. And then the clownfish, also the background piece, and then like little accents. And I think this little rectangle, you think, where does a rectangle go? It's probably for the eyes, just a little piece that goes behind there. And that is your Deluxe Caboodle bonus item. Wax seal, like I said, I do not have it here to share with you guys, but it is called Mermaid Tails, so I'm assuming it's like a scaly kind of thing. I should have looked at the pictures of it, right, when I was writing down the words, and I did not. But it is coming with adhesive circles this month, so no beads, but you're going to get, and they're really, really great quality circles. I have them. They're super, like, nice. I don't know how to explain it. They will really, really hold your wax seals for you. And so it's just, you know, a ton of circles. And you will receive those as the little bundle for the wax seal. All right, guys, let me clear the deck. So what I usually do in this video is I'll work on something that I feel is going to work up a little bit quicker. And then I follow up with videos with the other items. So I was like, why is this so close? It's because I put it close. Okay, there we go. All right, well, let me gather my thoughts and we'll work on something and I'll be right back. I think I'll use the dies, the stamp of the month, and the 3D embossing folder of the month today. So I think it's going to pull together real quick here. So I have some A2 size paper. I'm just going to cut this at 5.5 by 8.5. And the reason I'm mentioning cutting it at 8.5 is because this paper is a little bit oversized. This is just some kind of 10-pound paper from Michael's, and for whatever reason it's like that. So I always cut the 8.5 side too. So there you go, and it cuts a whole 1/8 of an inch off. So let me go ahead and get that and score that at 4 1/4. So it's 8.5 by 5.5 scored at 4 1/4. And I think I'm going to make this card landscape. So just go like this. And then we have this guy, and this is just some blue paper I have, and I think maybe we'll ink it up too, just to give a little more texture. So 4 1/8 by 5 3/8, because that's the kind of sizing I like. If you don't have like the layering dies from Spellbinders, or if you have them, this is a great time to use them. They're so nice because, again, we can cut things like this, but they do give a nice edge, right? As you use a die when you run it through, and it kind of like does what a die does, and it looks really nice on the sides. But anyway, by 5 3/8. And also, if you get the set A and B, then you'll have every, I want to say 1/16 of an inch, but probably 1/8 of an inch, from A2 all the way down to the smallest, you know. So let's get that. And these are pajamas, guys, I'm not gonna lie. I just noticed, I'm like, you can see my sleeves quite a bit. Kids are on vacation, and I just do my work while they're sleeping, and hopefully I, you know, can get that done. I think I'm going to run it through first and then do some inking, just for fun. So let's get this guy through. I am going to use my Spellbinders machine. Whatever your machine is, you know, whatever the sandwich needs to be, go ahead and do that. If you have a folder type machine, it might just be this by itself. For me, for the Spellbinders Platinum 6, if I use that today or when I go to use that, I'm using the A plate and the adapter from the Universal Plate System, okay? So I'll be right back. That was really nice and tight here. So again, depending on the thickness of your paper too, you might have a little more attention than not, but that is gorgeous, of course, as expected. And then you also have the deboss side, which is very interesting. Obviously for this one, I'm gonna use it this way because I think that's really cute. The little round bodies. Okay, let's get ready to do a little inking and then we'll move on. Okay, so hopefully the ink I have on here won't reactivate too much, but there we go. And I was looking for a blue, a greenish blue. I'm gonna try this color here. And that looks really nice. So I'm just gonna go on the very edges, maybe a little thicker in the corners. Okay, and I will be right back. Okay, so I think that looks really good. And so I'm just going to go ahead and glue that down, clean up a little bit, and I will be right back. Okay, I'm just going to put something on top of this. Usually I put a whole machine, but that should be okay. I think, I was going to do some alcohol ink coloring, but since this is water related, let's do a little bit of watercolor. So I'm just going to take my... Look, I mean, either one would look so cute. Okay, well, I already chose this one, but I'm going to go ahead and stamp that. Again, the first time you use it, they are sticky. I mean, they won't stick to my hand. They have a sticky dispersion layer on them. So it depends on what you use to stamp with to begin with. I'm looking for a acrylic block. Okay, so I was looking for my VersaFine ink too, because if I use water-based products, that's fine. VersaFine, always stamps really nicely the first time. That's what I was trying to say with the guys. You're going to want to really scrub off that sticky dispersion layer, stamp it off a few times, try to use a little alcohol wipe, maybe a archival ink cleaner, just something to help you get that off. A lot of times when you have something like this, you can just stamp and it's okay because it's just like lines, but I am taking a little risk here, and this is just regular paper. I mean, you can do watercolor paper, of course. But this is a hybrid ink, so you can use alcohol ink and water-based products with it. But if you were going to do watercolor, see how it's not that bright? I probably should use a stamp positioner. If you want to go with just watercolor, you're going to want to use a pigment ink because it won't reactivate when you use the water. And if you use alcohol ink markers, you'd want to use a water-based ink, or again, your hybrid ink, so you can try out either one. A little darker, but again, if I use stamp positioner, I'd probably stamp it twice. Okay, I'm gonna let that set for a moment and just grab some watercolors. Again, this is not gonna take a lot of coloring because basically it's supposed to look like paper. So I'll be right back. While I wait for that to dry a little bit, let your story unfold. Let's do that one. And I'm going to stamp that in blue ink, just so we have that blue background. Bring a little more of that forward. And I'll just stamp it like right here, because I'm going to cut it out anyway. Cute. And see how nice and perfect that was? Again, that was VersaFine ink, and it just works. But again, it's a pigment ink. So you can use this with water-based items, like your watercolors and, watercolor markers and things like that. Okay guys, so any watercolor you like to use. Again, this is not watercolor paper, so it's going to take the color in an interesting way. It might not, spread out as much as you would think. And I'm just going to get a little gray. I mean, you can do blue if you want for the accents, but basically this is supposed to look like paper. So I'm just going to take a smallest amount of gray and just kind of put some color here and there. Just so it doesn't look like I forgot about it, but we are going to do a little watercoloring. Again, it's going to accept into the paper. Not like typical watercolor. And so, I mean, it's just the smallest amount of color here and there. Around here. A little bit there. A little bit here. Maybe put a little more there. And same thing with this little guy. It should also be kind of like paper. So I'm just going to add a little bit. Just a small amount. Maybe a little more, to look like shadow in one area than the other. And then what else we got? The little pole in the middle, maybe we just make that one brown. And I'm not squeezing this water brush pretty much at all because I don't need to. Maybe I'll bring that down here even though I don't think it really would show up, but there you go. It says the brown. And then maybe something cute for this top part. I don't know. Maybe a little bit of like a teal color. So that one, and every other one will be the little teal color. Try and get a good amount of color for that one. And then like a darker blue. Are we gonna stick with blue? It's not that dark, but it is a different color than the teal, so we'll just go with that. Cute. And kind of reminiscent of the colors I used in the background. So it's like a blue and a tealish color. Let's get a little more there. And again, I'm not really squeezing this because I don't want the water just to pull up. And I think that looks pretty good. I mean, that's it. And if you want to add a little more black like to this, since I didn't double stamp it, then I'll just add a little more just to darken that. But I guess that's it, guys. So I'm gonna let that dry and then we'll just die cut and pop it on our card. Okay, so this will definitely have white edges, but I will say if you wanted to take your watercolor and just go around the image, you can just kind of soften that white edge if you prefer. So let's see, I'm trying to see if I can see that pretty well, like if I have good confidence that I'm not going to cut off, you know, the bunting in a weird way. Yeah, you are definitely going to have some white edge on this one. So again, you can take that blue, go around it, but I'm okay with this. So there's that, and there's this, and then I was like, did I get this too close? I was even thinking I might have gotten too close to this. You know what I'm saying? I think once I cut it, I could get that out, but let's go ahead and do it like this just because of the way I stamped it. And then I'm just going to cut this edge off so it has a dovetail, but not on the other side. And I'll be right back. Okay, guys, let's see what we got. I mean, how cute. I didn't mind the white edge because I do want it to be a little bit different from, you know, what's going on behind it. So that's kind of why I was like, I'll be willing to leave that there. And then this guy, I'm just going to cut it like right here. Well, yeah, okay. Go ahead and do that. And then I'm going to run it through again just to give a little definition, because I feel like if I just have this white and then this just on top and the same white, kind of boring, no? So I'm going to run this through some like dark blue paper. Okay, so we have that. I'll glue them together, put some dimensionals on that. But let's cut this so it's the same, basically. That's why I was going to basically wait to cut it, because I was like, well, I can cut them both at the same time, but that's okay. So should we have it that way or this way? Maybe the blue in the back so that it differentiates from the white boat. Something like that. I'll put some dimensionals on this. I'm going to put dimensionals behind this. I'm going to put some dimensionals also back here in the higher part of the boat and then let this glue down. Okay, so I'll be right back. Okay, so I have some dimensionals just in this top area here. And we'll put this little guy kind of in here. Looking cute. Hold that down. I'll be right back. I'm just going to hold that down. Okay, and then we can just put this little guy here maybe. And that is my card for today. So thanks for watching, guys. Again, brand new for August, of course. And then I'll have the link also for the June 2023 whale in a bottle. But basically, I mean, this would fit in there perfectly. It's just very cute. It's going to really mix and match with all the different sets this month. So thanks for watching, guys. I will have images coming up. I'll have the links in the description box, and I will see you all at the next one. Bye now.